Hello crochet friends, today we're going to be working on this Daniel Tiger crochet hat, and to begin I'm using a medium weight yarn and a size H hook. So first step would be to make a slip knot, and from there you're going to chain 3 chains, and this is optional, but the reason I grabbed the tail and looped around the first chain was so that I can later on pull the center tight. Then you're gonna yarn over and do 11 double crochets into the very first chain. So you're gonna have a total of 12 double crochet posts, and that's including the chain 3 in the beginning. So once you're finished and you counted all the posts, then you can slip stitch to the very top of the chain 3 that you did right there, and just slip stitch together. Then you're gonna chain 1 and do 1 single crochet into that same stitch. Okay, next you're gonna do 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and you're gonna keep putting 2 single crochets into each stitch all the way around. And remember that in the very first stitch you put only 1, so just remember to put 1 stitch into the very last one, like that, just 1 single crochet, and then you could slip stitch together, chain 1, and this row you're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch. Okay, and once you're done, then we'll meet for the next row. Okay, so once you're finished, again you're gonna slip stitch together, and then you're gonna begin by chaining 2. Next I'm going to place 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 into. So you're going to be making a pattern of 1 2 1 2 all the way around. Okay, so your last stitch should be 2, and then you can slip stitch together and chain 1 and do 1 single crochet into that same stitch, then 1 single crochet on the next stitch, and on the third stitch we are going to do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So again, for this row we are going to do 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then on the third stitch we are going to put 2 single crochets, and we'll repeat this all the way around. Okay, so one way to know that you're going on the right track is that you're going to end up with 2 single crochets at the end of the row. You slip stitch, chain 1, and then for this row we will put 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Okay, so to begin this row we will begin by chaining 2, and that's going to count as 1 double crochet, and then we are going to put 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, And on the fourth stitch we are going to put 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So again, 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches, so 2 and then 3 double crochets by themselves, and then 2 into the next stitch. So the pattern is 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then 2 double crochets on the 4th stitch all the way around. Okay, so just to let you know, this is going to be the last row of increases for this toddler size hat. Okay, so from now on we are going to be working 1 single crochet or double crochet into each stitch according to the pattern. So again, we are going to work 2 rows of single crochets, then 1 row of double crochets, 2 rows of single crochets, and then 1 row of double crochets, and so on all the way until you reach 19 rows all together. So once you're done, you're going to grab a needle and sew your end in. So now we are going to begin the ear part of the hat, and to begin I will start by making a slip knot. Okay, next you'll grab your crochet hook and we're gonna chain 3 chains, and then you're gonna yarn over, go into the first chain and grab your tail and loop it around the hook. Then you're gonna do a double crochet into that first stitch. So you're gonna have a total of 10 double crochets, and that's including the chain 2 in the beginning. Once you're close to finishing your last double crochet, you're gonna hold on to it and you're gonna introduce your new color. So you're gonna pull up your color and then pull both strands through all the way out, and then you're gonna take that string out of the way and then tighten it, and then you're gonna turn your work around and make sure to hide your tails and your other color because we're still going to use it. So next you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to go into the next stitch and do 2 double crochets into that same stitch, and again we're going to pause there before ending it because we're going to change colors now. So you're going to introduce your dark brown, and then we're going to put 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and again we're going to pause there at the 2 loops and change colors again to the tan color. And now we are going to put 2 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. Then we're going to pause there and change colors. Yarn over, go into the next stitch and do 2 double crochets. Pause there and change colors. And then do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And then on the very last stitch we are only going to do 1 double crochet, And that is how we are going to finish off the ear. Okay, so you should have done 2 ears, and now we're just going to set them aside, and then we're going to begin by making a slip knot. Then we are going to chain 15 chains. Okay, so once you're done, then you're going to go to the second chain from hook and do a slip stitch, and then another slip stitch into the next stitch, and then you're going to do a single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Okay, now we're going to yarn over and do 1 half double crochet into the next 10 stitches, and then we'll meet once you're done. Once you're done with the 10 half double crochets, then you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then 1 slip stitch into the last 2 stitches. And now we are going to work on the bottom part of the piece now, and then we're going to do the same stitches over again. So we're going to start by doing 1 slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to yarn over and do 1 half double crochet into the next 10 stitches, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches, and 1 slip stitch into the last 2 stitches. Then we're gonna cut a really long tail because that's how we're gonna sew them on later. Now to begin the small stripes, we are going to make a loop, and then we are going to chain 14 chains. Okay. Then on the second chain from the hook, we are going to do 1 slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. Okay, and then we are going to do 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then we are going to do 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to yarn over and do 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. Now we are going to do 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, and then remember we're going to cut a really long tail in order to sew it on later. Okay, and you should make a total of 6 small stripes and 1 big stripe. Okay, so I just grabbed some felt and I drew a nose and the eyes, and I just using the ruler just to give you an idea of the size of each of them. Okay, now we're going to begin by making a loop. Then we are going to chain 3 chains. And then we're going to yarn over, go into the first chain, grab our tail and yarn over the hook. Then we're going to do a double crochet into that stitch. And we're going to end up with 12 double crochets, and that's including the chain 3 in the beginning. Okay, so once you're finished, you just slip stitch together, and then you're going to chain 2, okay, now we're going to do 1 double crochet into that same stitch, and then we are going to put 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch, okay, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and we're going to do this all the way around. Okay, so once you're done, then you can slip stitch together. Then we are going to chain 1 and do 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and then we are going to do 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets into this next stitch. So the pattern is going to be 2 1 2 1 2 1 all the way around. Okay, so once you're finished, then you're just going to slip stitch, and then don't forget to cut a really long tail in order to sew it together later on. Okay, so next I'm going to make sure that the seam is on the back side, and just make sure that your hat is laying flat. Okay, so next we're going to grab the ear, and we want this side of the ear to be facing towards the front. Okay, so we're going to align it next to that top part of that single crochet, as you can see. Okay, then we're going to grab a safety pin and place it there so it doesn't move. Okay, then we're going to go along the line to the other side and grab our other ear and place a safety pin on there so that it doesn't move, and you know where to sew at. Okay, next I'm just gonna sew it real quick, and by the way, I didn't like how it came out when I was sewing it this way, so I was thinking that maybe it's just better to do a whip stitch, just a regular old stitch. Then, as you could see, I sewed in the tail. Okay, and then again you're gonna sew your tails in once you're done sewing on your ears. Then I'm just gonna show you pretty much how I sewed everything else on. Once I finished sewing on the first stripe, then I just grabbed the string and went one down just to make the stripe look more pointy. And it's very simple. Then you just sew your end in. You could also do it from the bottom so it doesn't really show. Okay, so right here I'm just playing around with where the eyes and the nose goes and all that. Then I'm just gonna start by, I grabbed all my end pieces and stuffed it, but you could use cotton too. Then I'm just placing it where I want the nose to be. Okay, then I just did a simple stitch to sew this in. And next I'm going to grab some E6000 and I'm just going to glue the eyes together. First the black part to the white part. Okay. And then I always have my phone as a reference. Then I'm gluing the nose and all that. One tip for using a big glue bottle like that, put the lid on right away because then the glue would start oozing out. Next I'm just grabbing some fabric paint, and in the end I didn't really like how that mouth piece came out, so I took it out, but you could, it's optional, you could do it however you want. Next I just grabbed a permanent marker and I went over the top part and made a little black line for his eyes. And I also added some more fabric paint to the eyebrows because once it dries it shrinks up a little bit.